Joey P, man, with stats in hand, spilling numbers like grains of sand. Fantasy talking about diamond dreams, chasing players, whispering their schemes. Oh, Welsh, breaking it down real slow, voices howling in the radio's glow. Talking monsters on the baseball field, wizards swinging bats and magic shields. Fantasy baseball in the night, podcasters giving us that sight. Question marks and stars collide, dreams of glory never hide.
Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live, brought to you by bet365. Bet $5, get 150 in bonus bets when you use the promo code Leading Off only at bet365. It is me, Joey P. That, of course, is the Welsh, and it's you, the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks here, talking ball. The Mets had quintessential Met moments starting on Friday. The Yankees made a deal. Some other trades have happened, and some rumors abound. We're going to get to all of them today. And Welsh, I guess we have to start with probably the Jazz Chisholm trade. I think that's where I want to start. The Yankees have been in a bit of a tailspin, although the weekend here they did kind of, pull things out just a tad last night. So Jazz Chisholm, a guy with a career 310 OBP, not going to help them get on base in terms of getting guys up there to drive in runs. Versatility, sure. He could play second. He could play the outfield. And apparently he might play some third base. But also a guy you say, okay, well, you take him out of Miami, maybe all of a sudden he gets a bump there. But if you look at the career numbers, a 740 OPS home on the road, three home runs exactly on the road and at home. So Jazz Chisholm, in your opinion, what sort of impact does this make for the New York Yankees, this deal that they made?
I think it's a solid trade. We were talking off air because I was poking you a little bit about you had some hits this weekend where you were very like, what's the Jazz? You were very Seinfeld. You're like, what's the deal with Jazz Chisholm?
What do you do? Hey, I know. We need somebody to get on base. Let's get a guy who never does. Like, you can't steal first. I mean, that's all I keep saying. Jazz Chisholm is still an interesting piece. I guess the argument, Welsh, is like, do you look at a guy like Jazz Chisholm and say, okay, let's drop him in Yankee Stadium, that little tiny ballpark. Let's put him in front of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Let's do that and see what kind of player we could get, because he's never played with superstars like that before in terms of lineup protection.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is exciting. They've also said that they're going to hit him more in the middle of the lineup. So this is a guy that's going to be hitting behind Judge and
why?
Soto.
Why would you do that to him? Why is that the way to go and not hitting him 2, let's say? And
well, you're not going to take Soto off. Soto goes 2, and they like to have Judge 3. Like, I think that's simply why you do that. They said that they feel that there's been some success, very little with Glaber this year, but with Glaber in the leadoff spot, I think that's bull crap. I think the trade I had proposed a long time ago, they need to go get Nico Horner. Go get a guy that actually does get on base and that can actually be a table setter and can go and steal some bases would be the play. But, this is a good move for Jazz. When you look at, I always thought I like looking at this because it's fun, though it's not like a one all. But on Baseball Savant, they've got the expected home runs by ballpark metric, which you can go and look, and you can just, just by side, Number 1, obviously, is Cincinnati for Jazz. But number 2 is the New York Yankees. It is the number 2 ballpark based on his hitting profile that he would have a projected 19 homers there. He currently has 13 homers, 23 stolen bases. So I don't know. I think it's a guy who in the back half of the order is going to still be aggressive, steal bases. We've seen the strikeout rate cut down. There's tons of great lineup support in there, but we kind of also know who he is. He's a 250 hitter who in theory could be this 30-30 guy who's got some injury proneness. And you just got to hope that guys like Judge and Soto are going to just kind of wipe off a little bit. Like, he can pick up some of that on base. He can pick up some of that patientness for his overall game. But he's a great fantasy player in a better fantasy ballpark. So for me, I have nothing else to say, but this is a fantastic move for Judge. And there really shouldn't be anything else, because we could talk about like, oh, Yankees and this and that, another thing. Great fantasy counting stat player put in a better counting stat ballpark. Mwah. Love it. Love it.
He's also got a couple of years left of control, which that I like too. So the Yankees have just a little bit, I think, guarded themselves on the Juan Soto walk away, because I do think he's going to go to the highest bidder. And I'm just still not sold that the highest bidder is going to be the Yankees at the end of the day.
By the way, the position eligibility for Jazz would throw in as well. Like,
well, that was to me, that was the most, I would say the best selling point is it gives you a little bit of depth there. There's rumors that DJ LeMahieu is going to get DFA'd. I saw that this morning. I don't know if that's happened yet.
No one will
since we've
notice.
gone
It's like,
on, but
yeah, it's like if a tree falls in the woods, it'd be like, if he gets DFA'd, does anybody care?
I don't. Well, he cares.
Oh, yeah,
the Yankees, I don't think, are done. I think they will do something else too. So I don't think that is the end. The Cubs were in the business of getting Isaac Paredes from the Rays for Christopher Morel. So, those cagey Rays, yet again, they moved Eflin this weekend to Baltimore, making room for Jeffrey Springs in the rotation. He comes back this week. We'll talk more about that later. I love how the Rays have basically said, yeah, just going to retool. Tosh Bradley's pitching like an ace. Next year, we get Bradley, we get Springs, hopefully McClanahan. You got Junior Caminero. You make a couple little moves, and the Rays are right back at the top of this thing again in this conversation. Welsh, what do you think of the move here with the Cubs and the Rays?
Yeah, this one caught me off guard in that it was Morel, but I get it. Like Morel, like you want Morel, you're rooting for Morel. You want him to be successful. He's got some of that kind of old school Javi Baez. There's a lot of Javi Baez actually in the excitement of the big power and stuff like that. But then also the swing and miss is kind of prevalent in his game. But this is one of those moves where, they're just going to have more control. They got off of Paredes. They got more pieces. He's like a year younger than Paredes, I think, but big power, 18 homers. Actually a solid OBP guy. Is 100-point differential between his OBP and his batting average. And I think that's something the Rays can work with. And I think they're going to do the $5 million man. We can fix him. They think they can fix him. And if you can get Christopher Morel to be what some of the expected stats are, which by the way, he's hitting 199, but an expected batting average of 242. There's good barreling, great launch angle, 14 degrees, so he gets the ball in the air. Look at what Paredes did. They're probably going to be like, hey, we have this perfect recipe for you. We got this little baby left ballpark here, this little left field that you just need to pull the ball like Paredes did, and you're going to find success. Actually, this is a spot where he is going to be able to be more successful. He's not like 100% pull guy like Paredes was, but I think you're going to see him pulling more. He's got some upside in the batting average. You've seen a bunch of homers, probably going to be a middle of the order guy for the Rays until they trade him in a couple years of the deadline because they can't afford anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Paredes in Chicago, though, real quick.
Yeah, also, this is the thing from Kirby here. Kelly's in here with Milwaukee Penguin. 13 fewer home runs at Wrigley than he does right now in terms of the move to Tampa. So Tampa's always been a tricky place for offense. But what does this mean for Caminero, too, in terms of getting his rear end up to the major leagues sooner than later?
Yeah, both of those. So real quick on the Paredes side, I didn't even realize this. I was texting with Dennis Sidler, friend of the show, because also Chris Morel is one of his clients. So this is a big change. And we're talking about Paredes. And one of the things you do have is it's like 315 in left in Tampa Bay. It's like 350 in Chicago. So for when I say primary, that almost seems like it's not always. An only pull hitter is going to have a further distance, which Wonky mentioned the 13 fewer homers at Wrigley would be something to look at. This definitely has the potential to kind of bring back Paredes' offensive upside if he isn't getting the ball further out. Now, the big elephant in the room, Junior Caminero. I assume the smart take is that Junior Caminero would be up almost immediately. But this is the Rays. And I said this last week, and everyone was like, hey, everything that ever happened. No, Randy traded. Hey, what could happen with
No, but you were the one that said, look, it's Paredes. That's the one that's going to open the door. So
I do
now
think
the door's open. Now we got to walk through it.
It does. But also, what is their official move with Morel? Like probably Morel would be better being a first baseman or a DH. But he was a third baseman. So is he going to just jump into that role? What is their plan? I think they're going to screw with us. I still think there's a possibility we don't see him till mid-August, with even the worst turn being we don't see him until mid-September, so they control him for next year. But the logic is he would come up. He is his play. He's deserved of it. He's off of his injury. He should be up, and you should all speculate on it, but just don't have a big freak out when he doesn't get called up, because Morel does play that position. And again, this is the Rays. We are in August almost, and they still have not called up Caminero.
Well, I think what the Rays did with the Rosarena, too, who was a cast-off from the Cardinals organization, and how they got the most out of him. Like, I'm hopeful they take these guys with electric athleticism and turn them into baseball players. And if you can do that with Morel, that's very exciting to me. The Mets acquired Jesse Winker. They were kicking the tires on Conforto and then landed on Winker, instead. Good move for the Mets. Whether you get Starling Marte back anytime soon, we'll see. And how healthy he is, but regardless, you need more depth in that outfield, and Winkers had a very strong season. Ellie De La Cruz, 3 for 4, 4 more steals. He is 55 for 64 on the year, stealing bases. Another show put on for Ellie De La Cruz, man. That guy is certainly fun to watch. Some returns this weekend, too. Devin Williams, scoreless ninth. Very nice. So good news for the Brewers, who certainly need some good news, and also good news for the Rays. Jeffrey Springs activated. He's going to start tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
I am so excited about Jeffrey Springs.
I know.
Someone put it in the chat, but like, you remember last year, I think last year was my real turn here on Leading Off in Fantasy Pros, where I was here like full time, like last year, like full time, like all the time. And I came in so hot with all my Jeffrey Springs stuff. And it was like build up, and he's gone. And I didn't get any of the Jeffrey Springs. So this is my first real run. This is like getting injured in your rookie year. This is my first real run to have a Jeffrey Springs part of the season. And I am very, very excited about it because as much as his stuff never left off as this, like, he's not like Paul Skeens by any means, but just super deceptive swing and miss type of stuff. And I'm excited to see that slider back in, that fastball command combo. I'm just very excited about Jeffrey Springs. Could be a little bit of bumps and bruises. One of my favorite trade targets in Dynasty, if you're in the business of drafting or trading, like, for like a 31-year-old starting pitcher. But love Jeffrey Springs.
Fun team name. By any Skeens necessary? You like that?
Ooh, I do like that. What are we gonna do? The CBS is like a team name Friday type of thing?
Maybe. By the way, there was also a return on Friday, and I warned everybody, don't get too excited because I know the Mets, and the Mets are going to Met. So Kodai Senga, right, gets activated. There was a great game. What do you have?
Who was that again? Who was that?
Kodai Senga.
Kodai Senga.
Kodai Senga. And then he has a calf strain, leaves the game, probably out for the year. So much for the big. I mean, so you got one start, one start all this time. Oh my God, we go back to March and April and all the noise we give you. Well, Kodai Senga, it's going to be about a month. He'll be behind. And then we said, yeah, okay, sure. And then it was 2 months, and then it was the All-Star break, and now we get him after the All-Star break, and he has one start.
One is the loneliest Senga that I've ever seen.
To everybody out there, again, when you're taking on guys with injuries, just massive risk. You have to understand everything is not warm and fuzzy, and it's going to be great. Some things that were fun, predictable. Jordan Hicks moves to the bullpen. Everybody thought that was going to happen. We knew he was limited this year. So there you go. The Giants making that move. The Padres apparently are in discussions with the Tigers for Jack Flaherty. That would be interesting to see. I love how the Padres just never surrender. I love that about the Padres. Good for them. They're just like, do we have any prospects left? Let's go. Let's just keep trying to win. That's what every team should be doing. I love that.
I'm actually really intrigued by it because Flaherty is going today. So I'm not sure.
Well, so far he is on the docket to start today. But we'll see.
I just don't know if, I feel like there's like the White Sox and the Tigers. It's very gun shy right now because I did not think the Tarek Skubal thing would happen. The discussions have opened back up. The Orioles are in it, and there's a lot of talk that Skubal is more likely to be moved than Garrett Crochet. And dude, the Garrett Crochet side, a month and a half ago. No, but a month and a half ago, if you would have asked anybody, any insider, any industry person, Garrett Crochet was the number one player getting traded. So now that Tarek Skubal has moved in there, but I feel like the Tigers are holding their pieces and they just don't know exactly which side they want to go. Because if you're going to trade one, might as well just trade both and get the.
It's either Baltimore backing up the truck or he stays. And I just don't know if Baltimore's going to back up.
I don't think they are backing up.
I don't think they are either. That's why I think he's going to stay there. Jerry pointing out too about Senga, the silver lining and everything is that, now he has this thing in the deal where, he can't opt out. So now the Mets get to just pay him $15 million a year. So his opt out isn't possible anymore. That's great theoretically. But again, unless he's healthy, what's the difference? So whatever. It's a lost season. I'm just annoyed, but then again, I'm not because this is the Mets. And this is just what happens. Also, Carson Kelly gets dealt. We'll talk about the fallout from that, what that means too. MLB Network's John Heyman are also reporting that Eric Fedde, apparently the Cardinals are looking at him. So that would be smart. I think the Cardinals, I think everybody kind of smells blood in the water with Milwaukee. There's 2 months left, Welsh. I don't think they're wrong. I don't. I think When you take Yelich out of that lineup, you take Burns out of that rotation, I think they're just very vulnerable. And they have a credit to the manager. You know, he came into a tough spot too. Counsell was very popular. He's been there forever. The Brewers have done a great job all year, but can they finish? And I think that's a big question. I think the other organizations look and say, hey, we're in this thing. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, and I think remember the trade I talked about last week. I thought the Brewers would be the ones that would go after a guy like Jazz Chisholm because if you're losing Yelich and you want to keep pace, you're gonna have to probably make some tough moves in here. And amazingly, the Cardinals are moving away from every single season. They're gonna trade, and they're buyers like right before the end. They just never quite give up. And if they're gonna jump back into this, one rumor though I have heard, which is pretty interesting, is the White Sox are trying to get Jordan Walker involved in that Fetty trade. And I just don't think there's any chance the Cardinals are going to allow that to happen. But you just never know what other pieces too.
Well, see, that's a big why to me. Like Jordan Walker at this point, you've given him multiple opportunities. He hasn't done anything. If Fetty can help you get in the playoffs and be relevant, considering you were a crap team last year and you just destroyed everyone's expectations, why not make that kind of move? I think that's okay. I mean, is it overpay a little bit? But sometimes you got to do that stuff, man.
Yeah, but I think for a guy like Eric, I think you could they have a lot of pieces. They could push some other pieces out there. But to the point, though, it is a glut of riches. The Cardinals are doing everything plus without Jordan Walker, and their biggest depth position has been outfield. I mean, they literally just keep moving guys. You know, Burleson is dominating out there. You've got Nootbaar. They've got Carlson sitting in the wing. I mean, they've just got guy after guy. Victor Scott is, trying to revamp his swing
for another couple of years. You don't need it. You don't need Jordan Walker. He doesn't have a place.
I don't think they should trade Walker for Fetty. That doesn't match up, and I think that's where the whole.
Oh, man, Walker's had a lot of opportunities. I like Walker. I don't think he's done. I think maybe he's a guy that needs another place, and I always called him Jermaine Dye, so maybe the White Sox is the right place for him after all. Rookie lookie, some fun names on this list. Dylan Dingler, the Dingleberry himself. So Carson Kelly gets traded. Dingleberry gets the call. I'm very excited about this. Very hot at AAA. 5 straight games with a home run, hitting 308, 379, 559, 17 homers, 52 ribbies, 5 steals at catcher. This is very exciting. The Dingler is up. What do you make? What's the deal with the Dingler?
I'm not as excited about the Dingler as you, but I mean, I think in the same.
Everybody loves the Dingler.
Take your same Carson Kelly rostering energy and put that to Dylan Dingler. If you're in like a 2-catcher league, go and pick him up. But he's not. Yeah. He's not starting. He's starting as much as Carson Kelly was. That's fine. Definitely hitting well in AAA, but I'm not going to project anything too much further out than what Carson Kelly already was. So nothing.
All right. What about River Ryan? Another great name. 2 hits, 1 earned, 5 2/3, 6-2 win over the Astros on Sunday. 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. What'd you think of him getting his first win in his big league career?
Yeah, I'm kind of a River Ryan guy. Good strikeout option. Walks a little bit of an issue. Fastball, slider, big combo, a little bit of curveball in there. 3-pitch mix like you'd like. Mid-90s fastball. I don't know how he's going to stable out as far as like whiffs go, and if he'd be able to stay in the rotation. There's always the possibility. So River Ryan is definitely a guy that is worth being on the streamer market right now.
A River Ryan runs through it. I'll put that in the.
So you are hard into your names today. I like it.
I don't know why. Yeah, who is it in the chat that always does them? Is Angelo in the chat always does it? Let's see. He's already like doing Dirk Dingler jokes and things like that. Like every time we're in this, he's just throwing out team names. James Wood, 4 for 5. Good day for him. He's also made the rookie lookie. 3 up and 3 down. Carlos Rodon, great start on Sunday Night Baseball. 6 1/3, 7 strikeouts. Bailey Ober, where's this version of Bailey Ober been? 8 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts. Hot dog. Love that.
It's been around for a little bit. I just want to point out, like, I know you say, where has it been?
11?
Well, but I'm saying the second half has been definitely where more of this has been. 1.2 ERA in the second half so far. It's registered a couple starts, but also in July had a 2 ERA and a 3.19 in June. So those last couple of months, he has taken another step. As this team probably going to be making some moves. Bailey Ober, it's hard to buy on him after all those strikeouts, but would have been a really nice buy earlier on.
Kyle Schwarber, 2 for 4 with 2 dingers. Also, I don't know if you saw over the weekend. I think it was over the weekend, where Bryce Harper, at least I saw it over the weekend. I don't know if it happened over the weekend, but the Bryce Harper Wawa cleats. Is that?
Oh, yeah. He had like a Wawa.
He had the Wawa headband, but he also had the Wawa cleats that had a barcode on them that said Harper. And I don't know if Wawa tied into a promotion, but all I can hope is like you can get a free coffee if you scan it or something.
I mean,
because that would be amazing. That would be like the best Bryce Harper thing ever. And I love
what do you think, Joe? Do you think he maybe has a deal with Wawa? There's a Harper Wawa. He's Wawa'd out. He has more Wawa than Philly gear.
If you scan my cleats, like if this picture on social media, you go get a free coffee, I would scan it. I guarantee you there's some sort of weird Easter egg.
Like if you go buy, or you have to take, I don't not understand.
Like you got it on your phone, right? Like,
oh, okay.
Okay, picture of the Harper cleats that they tweeted on social media, right?
Okay.
It's got a barcode on it. Do I go boop on there and do I get like something for free? I bet I do. I'm gonna find out. I would test it, except they got rid of my Wawa.
I've never been to a Wawa. I think they're making a Wawa nearby, but I've never been to a Wawa. Am I missing out?
Wawa, so great.
It's a gas station, though, correct?
No. They've gone into gas stations now. It was a convenience store first, then eventually got gas stations.
Business?
Not a gas station convenience store. They got into the gas business.
Okay.
Wawa is amazing. Wawa breakfast is amazing. Wawa coffees are terrific. The different varieties, the cold coffees too that they do, much more cost effective than say the Starbucks. And then they do the sandwiches, which are amazing too. I love the Wawa. It's clean. It's got lots of choices. The touchpads, you order your stuff.
And cut. Jimmy, we're going to take this and we're going to send this to Wawa for our 2025 a show sponsorship reel.
Wawa is better than Quick Check. Please, Jimmy, give us a Wawa.
Hot take.
Could you imagine? I would have Wawa on the show every day.
Do all that. Hot take. I don't care about gas stations. So
it's not a gas station. They happen to have gas stations now. But ignore the gas station side of it. Just go get yourself a hoagie from a Wawa. You need a hoagie from the Wawa. All right. QT. 3 down. Cole Reagans, 8 hits, 4 earned runs for him. David Peterson, 4 hits, 4 earned runs. And Garrett Crochet, we mentioned earlier, 6 hits, 5 runs. Are people getting cold feet? Because the July Crochet has an ERA close to 4
now. I think people are getting
July Crochet's a 4 ERA.
I don't know if people love a guy like him dictating like, oh, if you don't give me this, I'm not gonna sign, or I'm not gonna play or anything like that. I think that might be the cold feet action in all that it is going to take and having to sign him to a big contract versus the compensation that the White Sox are having. I think Garrett Crochet's team slyly but really screwed up the leverage that the White Sox had, because the White Sox could have asked for the moon and back, and now you can't, knowing that there's money involved. It's similar to like the Brendan Ayuk in the 49ers on football side of like, when a guy has to get the money, also teams are like, well, we can't give you like all this stuff because we also have to pay this guy. I think that's what's going to probably hold Crochet back from being traded, to be honest with you. I will say massive fumble if the White Sox walk out of this deadline not moving a Crochet or a Robert, and all they did was trade like Fetty, like I think that's a massive L for them.
So apparently my mic is poppy now. I don't know, maybe because I was pounding the table for Wawa, but I don't know.
So, you sound fine to me. I didn't hear it.
So I think it was just when I pounded my table here a little bit because I got so passionate about the Wawa. So everyone,
gas stations get you worked up.
They sure do. Tristan Casas expected to return from minor league rehab assignment on Tuesday. This is the injury news. Reynaldo Lopez. How many more injuries can the Braves take? Undergoing an MRI on the forearm. That ain't good. So the Braves are going to have to be in this now.
Let me ask you something. Is it embarrassing? I know what a Braves fan's going to feel, but is it embarrassing if they go and they try to get like a Luis Robert at this point with everything that's happened? I would think Braves fans might feel like passionate. There might be an excitement like, oh, they're not giving up, but it's like, dude, everybody is getting hurt at this point. Is it worth trading assets for? He's not really a rental, and maybe Robert's the wrong one, but if they were to go make little moves, like, do you think it's silly for the Braves to do anything at this point, or has it never been more critical for them to do it to hold?
I'm going to go the latter. I think never been more critical, and here's why. You're going to get Strider back next year. What, a month into the season, maybe, right? You would think somewhere around there. You can't waste the season that Sale's given you, which is a Cy Young caliber season. You got way more. Like, this is Reynaldo Lopez. Can we just sit there and just realize, like, come on, guys. Let's not pretend like we haven't gotten everything out of Reynaldo Lopez and more they could have possibly fathomed in your wildest dreams. So, yeah, like, as much as their luck has been bad, can we not look at how their luck has been good? That Chris Sale is a Cy Young again. Reynaldo Lopez has been a number 2 starter in the major leagues for almost an entire season so far. So, yeah, I think They have had an interesting balance between those two things. The Acuna injury sucks. Next year, you'll get him back. I think it is critical if you do make that move, though, that's not just a this year move, that it's somebody that you have for next year, too, because you're going to need somebody for next year also. It's not just going to be Sale and then hopefully Strider back eventually. You're going to need more. The Freed health is always a question mark. So I do think it's the latter, but it's a great question. It's a really good one. Nick Gonzalez. I'm sorry, go ahead. Nick Gonzalez, 10-day injury list with groin discomfort. He maybe need a blow. Yeah, that's probably 10 days of blows. Yoshinobu Yamamoto will throw a bullpen session on Friday. So we'll see how that thing goes. And hopefully there'll be more trade stuff to talk about tomorrow, which is going to be very exciting. But in the meantime, Welsh, I'm feeling pretty good because Saturday I was on In-Game Live on Sports Grid and I told everybody that I was ladder betting Blake Snell, which we only do like 2 or 3 times a year, maybe 4 if we're really feeling frisky. I was all in on this. I only had it up to 10 and he got 15. So Joey P is a happy boy and he wants to bring that momentum to Monday's best bets
of the day
with Joey P and the Welsh. Bet $5, get 150 in bonus bets when you use that promo code leading off only at Bet365. And don't forget, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions apply. What's going to apply to me today is the Baltimore Orioles. Give me Baltimore on the run line again, -1.5. They have covered that more than any other team in Major League Baseball this year, despite some of the recent struggles. They are going against Toronto, a team that is already looking towards the future, and how that future looks, I don't know. +107, you're getting on this -1.5 on the run line for Baltimore. And while we're at it, let's get Gunnar Henderson going here today. Total bases over 1.5, -110. By the way, Welsh, besides having the ladder bet on Snell, I also had this weekend a bunch of bets on Ellie De La Cruz stolen bases. So Joey P's a happy boy today. It's been good.
Must be nice to be such a winner.
Must be nice. And also, let's go with Bobby Witt, a guy that's been the best hitter in baseball in July. RBI today, even money. You have to get his total bases are 2.5 today. It's too rich for my blood. So let's instead pivot, make some money with Bobby Witt on the even money on RBI. So those are my best bets of the day. But Welsh, what do you have for the people on this beautiful Monday afternoon?
All right. Well, we are going to go to Seattle and Boston. 8.5 runs is the total for the game. And we're going to go under. We've got Nick Pivetta, who did get blasted, bounce back against the Seattle offense. And we've got Logan Gilbert. So that's why we're going to be taking the under 8.5 runs. You've been seeing this at like 7.5, especially in Logan Gilbert starts early on in this year. So a bounce back for Pivetta is going to be critical, but a lot of algorithm stuff has got this right around the 8, right under the 8 marker. So I'm going to go under 8.5. Going to go to Kansas City up against those White Sox. Run line -1.5. Maybe I'll even get lucky and Robert to get pulled mid-game or something like that. Even more special. Alec Marsh hasn't been too bad. Kansas City's been on a roll. I'm going to be putting some balance for your Bobby Witt Jr. RBI for this game because I want the 1.5. That's almost even money for Kansas City. And then I'm going to take a first 5 under, and I'm going to go under the normal number that we usually use at 4.5. I'm going to go 3.5 under through the first 5 for Detroit and Cleveland. Boy, Flaherty, don't get traded before this because this is Flaherty and Bybee controlling the first 5. So under 3.5 runs for the first 5 for Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City run line, Seattle, Boston under on the total. Those are my best bets of the day.
I was going to say I'm waiting for the Flaherty thing to even look at that game because I want to see if he because as soon as he doesn't, or maybe you just go bet it now, just go heavy on the school balls, not the school side, the other side of that game. What is
Cleveland.
it, Welsh? Cleveland side of that game with Bybee. And you go hard to it now just in case maybe the school ball thing. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. I don't know. Lots of interesting stuff going on. The deadline is looming and more bets will be looming, but make sure you're prepared for everything with the Betting Pros app. Download that bad boy today. Start betting smarter, not harder. Those are the best bets of the day. And don't forget to sync your sports books for free only on the Betting Pros app. All right, Welsh, let's take a look at the home run board and see where we're at today after the weekend. Joey P, I am there. Like, you couldn't script this better. Number 20, 27 home runs, just hanging on. Wonky Penguin at 28 went ahead of me. Wonky has made quite a run. The top 3 got Larry C at 34, along with Silent Dragon, and then B-Trot and L-Scale still at the top 36 and 35, respectively. So it is very close. I am going to stick with the hottest hitter in baseball in the month of July with Bobby Witt for my home run today. But Welsh, where are you going for your home run call?
Well, I'm going to go with the hottest hitter when he is active, Royce Lewis. Give me Royce Lewis, because if he is in a ball game, a home run is just a swing away. So give me Royce Lewis too. I'm not going to get on the board before you go. Joey's time, the clock is ticking to the end of this week.
Maybe get 3 today, and you just
if you know what, if I get 3 from Royce Lewis today, and then I can pick up a couple more during the week, maybe I can get on the board and pull the greatest comeback of all time. But minus money on Joe leaving before I get on the home run board is going to pay.
I like
nothing else about it.
The trade deadline is trickling this year. I like that. I like that every day or two we've got some things to talk about, as opposed to where it's all at once. I like that so much better. I like the teams are being aggressive. I don't think the Mariners should be done, by the way, either. Rosarena, great trade for them. Go get Robert too. Just go get an offense. The Seattle Mariners are the 28th ranked team in runs scored this year. The Oakland A's have 40 more runs scored than they do. The only teams that have less runs scored than the Mariners, the White Sox and the Marlins, okay? And then you've got, on the other side, they are the first in team ERA. You can't keep doing this to the pitchers. You need more offense. It's not just Julio, and it's not just a Rosarena. You need more. Go get more. Go all in. This is your window, Mariners. The Mariner fans deserve that. There you go. There's my pitch to the Mariners. So that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. I'm off to Wawa. We'll see you next time, kids. Peace.